dit seksuell. Oh ja. Ja. Good afternoon, and nice that you're here in this space. So welcome to the performance Becoming Tiger. And first part, there we go on a trajectory, on a journey together, and it has already started. So yeah, we will continue, and throughout the continuation you will meet some other of my team members that are part of this performance. So I will pass on to my colleague Iris van Peppen to take over and take you on a journey.
Welcome everyone. First of all, I'd like to invite you to come off the walls and to find a space to sit somewhere you feel comfortable. You have a bit of space. I will be somewhere. Doesn't matter. I will be here, so you can be here. So, make sure you have some space around you, so you're not too packed. And you don't even need to face me. There's nothing to see. So you can also turn your back to a different place. Okay. So I would like to invite you for a moment to bring our attention more to our bodies. Yeah, when I say that, is that enough? Before I continue? Well, we're maybe used that when we enter a situation or a performance that we have a certain way of relating, and we like to invite you to relate differently. So first we go to our body. So I invite you to sit in a comfortable position for a moment and close your eyes, so you don't have to be busy with the others, just me, you, and my voice. Okay? Thank you. So take a moment to close your eyes and to have your lips a little bit ontspannen, so a little bit apart, so that your jaw can just relax for a moment. Maybe you notice you were clinging your jaw. You can also move your head a bit if you like, so that you can, you can just drop your jaw and let your mouth hang a bit. Yes, great. And maybe there comes a yawn or a zucht. You can do that. If you let it go, just let it go for a moment. Everything, maybe there were things you were worrying about or thinking about the groceries you still have to do. Just go for a moment. warm our hands. So you keep those mouth hanging all the time from now on. And you rest your hands over your eyes on your face for a moment. In a very nice, luscious way. Like fleshy hands on a fleshy face. So it's a very full touch that you give yourself. And then from there you will probably, if you have a full touch, you probably, with your fingers, start to feel your bones, the structure of your head. Maybe you want to move your hand a bit without replacing your hand, but a little bit moving the flesh around your bone. I would say that. That's why I make such a strange sound. Because I'm moving the flesh around my bone. And if you want to maybe, change your hands maybe to your jaw, you could do the same thing. So you move your flesh around your jaw. Maybe you also want to do it to the back of your head. You can also do it there. So you touch the back of your head and there's very little flesh, but there's still flesh. So you move the flesh around your head. Very different sensation in the back of your head. Right. And then just to imagine how your head is a container, and it's a container containing your brain organ. Your brain organ. Think about the organ, not its function, but the organ, its weight, sitting and floating in the cavity of your head. And then as you move your flesh around the bone and you meet that bone, to also start to maybe acknowledge or thank your head for protecting your brain organ. Because it's quite something. Yes. And then move your hands down to your sternum or spine with the same fleshy amount of touch you just did on your face. And maybe you want to move that flesh around the bone too. And you can move it how you like. You can keep it there or move it a bit more down. But you meet your bones through your flesh. You can also go around the ribs. The ribs, a bit of the same, moving the flesh around the bones of the ribs. For you to have a sense of, wow, I'm being hugged by my ribs, all the way from my spine, from the back. It's hugging me to protect my organs, my heart and my lungs. Wow. Thank you, ribs, for doing that. And then we bring our hands to the back. And maybe you can trace down your spine. You have all this flesh. Maybe you feel, it's hard with the lumbar, with the lower spine, to feel the bones because they're so deep. But there comes a moment you will feel this very sensitive plate, which is your sacrum, Heilerbein. sensitive, right? So we are more gentle, like a diamond shape. So you can gently soothe your hand down your sacrum, like you would pat a cat or a dog. Your favorite animal. Yes. And keep your eyes closed just to be in the comfortable space of touch, voice, and your body. So you are not yet distracted, but of course you can also open them. That works for you. And come gently on your hands and knees like a cat for a moment. And maybe take that one hand again to that sacrum and then pat it down like you would have imagine a tail. So you use the back of your hand or the front of your hand to brush down the sacrum, het heilig been, as if a tail is growing on you. Maybe you can imagine a growing tail. Just imagine that. And then you can place your hand back. You're on your hands and your knees like a cat, so it's a bit agile. Beetje veerkrachtig als een kat. And from there you gently open your eyes without really seeing anything, but more taking in. Taking in light, taking in sound, taking in breath, volume. And as you do that, just start to move your imaginary tail. I mean, you do have a tail. We have a very tiny tail, which is very sensitive, but we imagine a very big tail. And let's sweep that big tail around. Just sweep it. So you can wag your tail. Yes. And maybe very gently you're going to wag your tail and allow your tail maybe to pull you back. So you would walk a bit to the back because this tail is pulling you. Now be very gentle. If you touch a wall or table or person, it's not so bad. It's okay. If you're gentle, it's not a problem. Now let's go a little bit as if you are leading with your head like a cat, but the tail is still there as a counterbalance. And now you're going to lean forward and walk forward with your head, but the tail is still wagging and reaching. It's your counterbalance. So let's move forward. Now forward is more easy because we can navigate, because we can see or sense where our space is. So we're going to move a bit forward. Yes. But you can also go backward again. So big tail leading backwards. And this tail can also turn you around. The tail can also say, let's go left or right. En je kan dat hoekje om. And as you do that, notice if the mouth is still hanging like it just did. This long jaw. As we go to the back and to the front and maybe around. Yes. Yeah. All right. And maybe now this tail is pulling you to come up and sit. Whoop. We're vertical. But from this tail, like the tail goes. Exactly, that's wonderful. And again, back to the front. So do it a little bit also into the vertical, like whoop, and the tail is pulling you right there. And one more time. Yes. But you can play with it. So we have all this on fours, but also vertical. But maybe you want to go standing. But from this tail, what if the tail is leading you to a place And you have this, and the eyes are just taking in. So they're not too much, but taking in as you go. How would that be for you? If the tail leads you to stand or sit, or maybe walk, so you have this, or maybe a little bit more funky. Huh? And you can really move from where there is space. So if you feel like, wow, I'm stuck here in the wall, just wag your tail to a different place. You're free to move where you want to be, and you can make it as simple or as complex as you like. So let's play a bit in the way you are interested. Playing with a big imaginary tail leading you through space, and your eyes take in. So it's more this back space that you activate, and the front space you take in. How is that? To play with that. En maybe you wanna gapen, geeuwen, brullen, dansen, zingen. I mean, if you need to make a sound to relax, do so. But don't if you don't want to. Do what feels natural and playful, what makes you enjoy. Great. And sometimes maybe you lose, oh yeah, my breath, I'm holding it, oh ja. Dan kan je weer even, even loslaten. Now, keep on wagging your tail, and you wag it all the way to the curtain side. So you cannot skip that. You need to do it with the tail leading you to that space until you are behind in this whole area, in this space, wagging your tail, breathing. And then you come on to standing. And when you stand, see if you can still sense the weight of that tail that you imagined. So maybe you can stand for a moment and imagine this weight of the tail. If you still need to wiggle it, you can. Huh? Maybe you want to keep on activating it to feel that weight. And as you have your eyes open, it's more about taking in. So can you sense this whole back space activated and the front space included?
Thank you for this warm-up and for the warm-up into the next part. So, as some people might, well, from the title, which is Becoming Tiger, I am very much interested in becoming a tiger. But therefore I need to know if I pass or not, and if I'm real enough. So I thought I have this line here, which I call the tiger binary line. And this side represents the tiger, and that side represents the human. So we're doing just a very simple task. I'll move, and if I'm not convincing as a tiger, I guess then you're more on this side. And if I convince you as a tiger, you can move on along the line where, yeah, depending where it matches. And if I'm 100% convincing, then you can stand here. If I'm 100% convincing, you can take a photo. Therefore, you need to turn on the yellow button the Polaroid camera. Then you can see the amount of pictures, and you press the red button if you're convinced I'm passing as a tagger. If I'm not convincing, or if I'm too human, we have another camera here, and you can take a photo if you think I'm convincing as a human. You turn on the camera on the yellow button, and you press the red button for the photo. Do you have more questions? Is it clear what we're going to do? I move and you move around the line. Great. So let's give me a moment to become tiger. Like this, this is a tiger, you know, like here. And here are some glasses, so someone missed them for the performance. You want them? Courage to be yourself. Today, you're granting me the privilege of talking about my courage to be me after making me bear the burden of exclusion and shame throughout my entire childhood. When I received this invitation to speak of the courage to be me, at first my ego peered as if it were being offered a full page ad for which it would be both the product and consumer. I saw myself already awarded a medal, a hero. Then the memory of oppression attacked me and raised all complacency. So what do I need to do to convince you to be more Tiger? Seems like you're quite a challenging audience. And you? Do you dare to cross? Sometimes I wonder, I also wonder, do they sometimes want to be human? They're all the same, right? You're all the same, right? Because you're in the audience. Thank you. Let's move on to the next part. It's going to be introduced by my colleague Vera. There you go.
Thank you. For the next part, we would like to go into conversation with you, actually, about the topic and the performance. And it will be a group conversation, but to start, maybe it's good to look left and right and pick two neighbors to like have a few minutes and chat. Like, what did you experience? How did you feel coming in, seeing the exhibition, do the warm up? Just a short blurb of thoughts for a few minutes in groups of 3, I thought. Okay.
Ben je blij voor? Is it English or Dutch? English? Okay, alright. Yeah.
How did you come into
A bit, the build-up was very smooth, right? This, yeah, when coming into the space, the atmosphere, and then slowly on we go into this binary light we don't expect to be doing.
Oh, really?
I mean, again, it's absurd, binary, right? You can never become. No, how can I become like you?
Still, what I thought was interesting is that the invitation to go beyond what we see or the appearance of those, and that, for instance, because of the space and people and the way, I couldn't move to the tiger side at that moment, but when during the dancing, for instance, it was in appearance a human dancing because we were standing, but I could feel or imagine in my head that inside, you know, like with the eyes closed, that the being was a tiger, for instance. Yeah.
Yeah, I have the same.
So that you have to still
Yeah.
It does really change perspective. What comes after. Like I was much
but it
more
would
aware
blend.
of my
Yeah,
body.
because how did that influence you when you were
Moving
moving?
in ways that I wouldn't normally as if I'm just watching. So I wasn't just watching. Yeah, that was a very interesting experience.
Did that influence how you're now?
Exactly, yeah. I could relate. And you want to look for in becoming the teacher.
Oh yeah.
Try to finish your sentences.
More easy.
But also the goal.
But it's really interesting.
Like this. I don't want to be a tiger. Trying to much tiger.
Okay. Thank you. As I'm opening to a conversation with the group and exchange more of our thoughts and feelings, I've put some post-its and pens on the ground, and I'd like to ask you to share some of your thoughts and experience on the post-its and place them in a space where either you were when you experienced them or where Luke's were. And we do that for a few minutes. You can also walk around, see other people's thoughts, feel like what resonates with you, and then we take some post-its, get in a circle, and we talk about them. So, yeah, first the post-its. Any questions?
No.
No, jumping right to them. Great.
Super clear. Eager.
First post is gonna be
klokken.
Okay.
Yeah, let's have everyone in the circle.
Okay, so thank you. Yeah, so I'd like to have a conversation and see what went through your head while watching the performance and getting assigned this task. But before we do, I'd like you to ask you, whoa, this you to you is what? I'd like to ask you, when you talk to be mindful and when you refer to a person, to be mindful of your language and to not assume someone's gender. You can either say, this person said something that really resonates with me. Jolijn, may I ask you to read one of the post-its you took and tell me why it resonated with you?
Yeah, I got two.
Yeah.
And the first one, I hope I'm reading the handwriting right. I think the appearance, a standing human, yet it was a tiger inside. And I liked the other one was through our gender we experience the world.
I was looking for that one when I said I don't have a post-it yet. Oh, why did the two resonate with you or
Yeah,
one of them?
I like them in a combination also.
Mhm.
And to start with the tiger human, of course it's very easy to assume when the human is on four legs that it's the tiger, but here somebody stated there was a tiger inside.
Mhm.
And I liked it as a contradiction with through our gender we experience the world, which is also an inside, internalized thing, but gender is also an outside thing where you're exposed, and I like that's why they both resonated, like human tiger, but also gender from outside and inside gender.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are my thoughts.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also felt like picking that one, the last one, through gender we experience the world. It brings questions to me, to my head, like that it's both so personal and also so decided by the world somehow. So yeah, that's why it resonated for me. Someone else who likes to reply to this post-it, who feels like, yeah, it does something to me, or I see it differently.
Yeah, I think I was wondering why we have the role of judges, kind of. And I was wondering when you felt like being a tiger and when not, or if you felt it all the time. And I think then that's your post. Oh, you got this one.
What does it say?
when did you feel like becoming tiger?
I also like the notion that I felt like being judging you. How was that?
Yeah,
I have to judge.
Yeah, I think it was interesting because it created kind of this one person against all of the rest dynamic, and we moved as a group of people most of the time. It was not so much, it was kind of moving with a group, which I think reflects a lot of dynamics that we know in society.
Can I add something to that? Because I also experienced that feeling, but also the other way around. Mostly towards the end, I felt judged by you. You're not a good audience. Or that was a conflicting thought. Like, ooh, yeah.
And did you also then thought about how you acted, how you walked that line?
Yeah, during the whole day I was really yeah, I was very much aware of myself in space and moving or standing still. Yeah.
I have a thought or a question because of this setup of being the judges, which is super confronting. Does it also confronts ourselves in our daily way of unconsciously judging the world? I mean, this is a setup which is super amplified, but we do this all the time and we're not even aware of it. And how is that for you? Because I have this post-it, what is my role here? It's an amazing statement because through relation we are defined. And so we are always having a role and we're always being confronted. How do I relate to the situation? If it's here or outside or in the bus or whatever you're dealing with. And it's a constant reflection on yourself. Like, what is my purpose here? What is my role here?
Yeah. But that's why I'm not comfortable with the word judging. Because it's not a judgment, it's a perception, in my view. So we constantly look and interpret what we look and give it a meaning or give it a place. But it's not necessarily a judgment. It can also be a judgment, but in general, it's not. It's because a judgment puts something on a scale of good or bad, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it's not when you just read to try to interpret something. We don't always do on the scale of good or bad. You know.
Maybe pre-prejudice is more.
I was responding to a word that was being said.
Yeah.
So we never said we are the judges. So that, I meant
you can break the circle.
Thank you for that. Yeah, but then even if it's our perception, we're always dealing. What is my role in relation to the? Like,
there's always an interaction,
Yeah.
and I thought of it afterwards, but it's. Can I be a tiger if I'm alone? If there is no tiger to see me as a tiger, for instance, because that's. Well, this is a metaphor, but I feel that very much for some of my identities. I think I'm something, but if I'm not seen as such, then there is a struggle or a confrontation because I say, yes, I am. Even if you don't want me to see, if you don't want to see me like this.
I see some people nodding here, but I don't know what to say something.
Yeah, or I think I felt a lot of responsibility in the position of that my perceptions have consequences, or like I think they don't judge, but they do put a value on how I perceive you. And I think in society that is a very dangerous, or like that's a very powerful limiting thing for a lot of humans. So sometimes I wrote down my humanness / tigerness is limitless, because I feel like sometimes you were doing something very tiger, and I was like, yeah, you can be as human, like also humans can just do whatever they wish to do, like, and so sometimes I suppressed a bit the need to break it and to like go on the opposite side, kind of. But then I was like, no, I think we are asked to do, you know, like, and then I'm also my human brain is like, no, don't like, or also, yeah. Well, if we take it, if we switch tiger with skin or tiger with gender, then I'm like, you can be, and like, I am not here to say whatever about your experience, and I think that's why I was really like, I could be anywhere all the time, and just making decision on perception feels very arbitrary. Like,
Also, do you make them upon the performer, like on me, or do you make it actually the decisions upon the other people that are with you in the crowd that I put you there? So it's also, is this what you see, or actually what's happening behind you, next to you, in front of you?
Yeah, but this awareness is a very interesting thing. Also, what you said earlier, like if you move with the group, I feel like I was way more aware of how people around me also were moving around, and I think I stood in the middle for the most of the time, just like very comfortable here. You do you. I'll be here. But yeah, I think this awareness of others also is very interesting too. Yeah.
I was like, now a question come up. I would be curious to hear a bit if you watch something or if you witness something that makes you personally uncomfortable. How do you actually then relate to the other people who are with you in the binary line? So it's just one. For the audience. Yeah.
Could you explain more? I didn't catch.
Yeah, I wondered if there's something that you witness from what's happening, let's say on this side, that makes you uncomfortable. What is happening that you relate? Like, how do you make the decision upon the uncomfort that it creates, or also the decision upon what's the people that are with you in the line, or
So like the kind of how, if you get uncomfortable, how that affects how you relate to others.
Yeah,
What
maybe.
you relate to others.
Then I would be curious to hear if someone was feeling uncomfortable
Yeah.
to begin with.
I think I felt it most when you said, when do you cross the line? Oh yeah, we are an audience and we get assigned a task, we stick to the rules, and then it becomes something like, when am I audience? When am I sticking to the rules? When am I crossing the line? And in that moment I really felt the pull of the group. Like, was that an invitation to cross the line? Should I try? And what are other people doing? That made me really aware of that. Also, there's a bit of a risk then in stepping out of the audience, of the role. Yeah. Agree. I think at that moment the group was really a group. Of became a group because of the comfortable.
Especially if there's a tiger up the lure.
Yeah. The other thing was also that it was interesting because I wasn't sure. So like in the beginning it was like, okay, it's me that I'm watching and it's me that I'm gonna judge. But then I felt like I was being watched and I was being judged. So almost like I was the one who was performing. So that created a unsettling feeling, which was actually very interesting to realize, like, okay, we're kind of in the same position.
I also found myself more, because I've been in several times, and I felt in the beginning the tiger side felt like the way we should move. Like this only succeeds when it's totally tiger, and I don't know where that came from because it's not always like that. I also think what you said about if you have judging, then you have right and wrong, where you have this weird binary, and I also started to get more and more confused about that during the performance. Yeah.
Confused about
If the tiger is the way to go.
yeah.
Do I even want to be there? I didn't really want to. And if you make, because it's also a metaphor for gender, like how far off the binary do you actually need to be, and why is there the pull to one side or the other? Yeah, it's also reflecting on that.
I have this also with the taking of the picture. That once someone takes a picture on the tiger side, and I'm like, oh, who has now decided that it's a yes? And also, what if you take a picture and 5 seconds later you're on the other side? Like, how can you change your mind so fast? So I also get more and more confused about the picture. But I love it. But I'm also like, I don't like it. But maybe I can't say that.
I also really liked at the end we took a picture of us. So that also to me speaks to when you are part of the norm, you don't realize, and from that position you're watching, and then suddenly, so I felt exposed, but also in a good way. But it's like, oh yeah.
In a good way. Why?
Yeah, it's as if you bring to light something that I knew but I wasn't aware of. It creates a different relation. But for me also, I mean, there was also an element of playfulness also because I really wanted to take a picture. Just because.
That's okay.
With the camera.
You were doing the task really well.
Yeah, but you were also playing with that.
Yeah.
So that you were like, oh, nu is het goed. Yeah, like, oh, you like this? So there was this element of play in it as well. And when is it playful, nice? And, wow. I don't know. But, yeah.
Yeah, nice to hear. Yeah.
Thank you.
If I can add on this thought, I think for me the effect of the camera is really like a capturing of one person perceives you as passing in either end of the binary, and I think it really felt like made it even more performative what you were doing in a way, like, okay, I'm doing this, or like because there is a camera, it's like almost modeling, no, like, okay, how, or like somehow the act of transforming into something became for me it became more performative because it's like also because of this play, like, okay, how then it's shot and then what happens, what does that mean for your bodily language, like yeah.
Yeah, but also, now you say this, I'm like, oh, yeah, I've done that. I can act like a girl. If you want me to be a girl, I'll do it. Okay, I'll stand a little bit more like this. But I feel so uncomfortable. But now I recognize that little part of a performance you do throughout your day to try to be who you think the world wants you to be.
Until you don't anymore. I think due to the time that we'll wrap it up here.
Very nice conversation, I
yeah.
must say.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
Yeah, is there someone that really wants to voice something out, then it's the moment.
Otherwise, thank you all
thanks
for
for
being
today.
here.